from the iceberg with a grand polar, coming to you over the Ethernet, and into your ears.
Hi guys. Can you tell me, how did Shaylon start?
Okay, so I formed Shaylon in 2014 with a strong desire to create a symphonic rock band. And my vision for this band was to blend the power of heavy metal and rock music with classical music, opera, and the pompous melodies of modern pop music. And that's what happened. Then, I just formed the first lineup of Shaylon. I was able to find great musicians that were living here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And in 2015, we released the first EP with 3 songs, and we started playing around the Bay Area. And around 2017, we had a very major change of lineup, and that's when we got our new drummer Kurt Baker and the wonderful Susie Jimenez, who is luckily with us tonight. And thanks to the great bond that we were able to create all together, we were able to work very hard, and create the album that we just released finally at the end of January of this year, which is called The Initiation of a Timeless Voyager.
Right. The band name Shaylon, where did that come from? It sounds Gaelic or Celtic.
Yes, correct. It comes from ancient Gaelic, and it means admirable. And the story behind this name is funny because one day I was driving around Las Vegas. That's where I was living before moving to the Bay Area. And I saw a writing on the wall that said Shaylon. I stopped the car and I took a picture of this name, which I've never heard before. And I said to myself, I feel that this is going to be the name of my next band. And sure enough, when I moved to San Francisco, I decided, okay, I'm going to form my own band and I'm going to call it Shaylon.
Great, man. So it's a sign from the universe, basically.
Yes.
Susie, how did you get started in the music business, and what are your main influences?
Sure. Well, my background is in opera. So I always sang when I was young. I sang in choirs. And then when I was a senior in high school, I started studying classical singing, operatic singing, with a soprano who had a career in Europe. And she had moved to the Bay Area. And shortly after studying with her for about 2 months or so, I sang in a competition, and I did placed. And so one of the adjudicators said, "Where are you going? What conservatory?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not." And he said, "Oh, you really should." And so he called up conservatories on my behalf and told him about me. And so then I went and auditioned. And so I just kind of threw him, this one man, and also the voice teacher I just studied with, my path just changed. So I was a vocal performance major, concentrating in opera, classical singing. So I did my bachelor's in music, sang professionally for 2 years, and then continued on and did my master's in music. And again, performed in operas throughout the country and internationally. And then I toured with a performing group as well. And then I'm a teacher on the side. And so I found out through kind of a website through another student that there was a local band near where I was living that was looking for a symphonic metal singer. And I didn't even know what that was, this genre. They had listed bands similar to Nightwish, Epica, Edenbridge. They listed all these bands and I had never heard of them. So I looked them up on YouTube and I thought, this is beautiful. Why have I never heard this music before? What? And so I ended up contacting them, and for fun, I ended up singing in this cover band that was doing a lot of these beautiful songs that from Nightwish and bands like that. And then our band shared a show one time with Charly's band, Shaylon. And so that's how we met, became friends. And and then later on, when they were going through a lineup change, I had ceased to be in this cover band that I was doing, because I had other projects going on too. But then Charly called me one night, kind of shortly after my birthday, because we had written each other just to say hello. He's like, I really need to talk to you. I'm okay, what's going on? And they had said they were needing another singer, and if I was interested. And of course, I was quite a fan of theirs. I really loved Charly's music. It's all original, very beautiful. And so I said, well, sure, let me learn some songs. And we got together, and it seemed like a really great fit. And now it's been a few years, and we're very excited about our new album. And we had a video released recently of the single, Revelations Time. And we have a new video, Mist, coming out soon as well. So it's been a really, really great experience.
Great. Charly, how did you get into the music industry?
So I've always played music since an early age. I started playing guitar around 12, and after basically hearing for the first time Bon Jovi with New Jersey, and when I saw Richie Sambora playing guitar and in a video of Bad Medicine, I was completely blown away. I said, okay, I want to be like him. and that's really the driving motor that propelled me to pursue a music career. And around the age of 23, 24, something like that, I won a scholarship in composition of modern music in Italy. I'm Italian, so at the time I was living in Italy, and I went to study in one of the most prestigious school called CET, C-E-T, directed by a very, very important Italian author called Mogol. And thanks to this school, I was able to learn a lot of interesting things about music, songwriting, and composition and whatnot. And that opened up a whole new world to me. Cutting short, I was, able to travel around Europe. I lived in Germany, I lived in England, and in France. And I was able to enrich my cultural background and musical background, also by collaborating with a lot of artists. And when I moved in the US, that was in 2009, that was the dream come true to me, because I was finally able to be in a place that I always dreamed of. And I was just able to pursue my dream and put my energies and efforts into making music. So in Las Vegas, I started to perform with bands and artists. I played heavy metal, I played country music, alternative rock, blues, jazz, all kind of stuff. And but at the end of that particular journey, I just wanted to make my own music, to write originals, to really create my own band and do things the way I always dreamed about. And that was possible by basically jumping into the unknown and trusting that something powerful was about to happen. And that's when I arrived in the Bay Area, and I was blown away by the fact that I found, in a very magical way, I found band members that shared my vision, my dream, and the same passion for music. And that's how Shaylon started. And I would say that the major influence that inspired me to create Shaylon was Nightwish, because their music is just amazing. It just embraces all the characteristics that I like in a song in this particular genre. And then I was okay, so I guess I'm ready now to create this type of music. And yes, getting inspired by Nightwish and bands like Within Temptation or Queen or Muse. These are my major influences. But then hoping to be able to find my own songwriting style, and and this is only possible to do once you have your own project, your own band, and people that are really passionate about what you do and share your vision, and that's when the magic happens. So I'm very grateful and happy that at the end of everything, I have 3 wonderful bandmates that are sharing the same passion as I do and the same dream, and we have the same vision, and we just have fun. We love what we do, and I think that you can hear it, you can feel it in the album.
Yeah, it's also you can definitely hear it when a band is together and they're all, without saying a pun, singing off the same hymn sheet. I mean, you can just hear it. It just gelled, and that's what really attracted me to Shaylon. Susie, your main musical influences, who would they be?
Well, growing up, my mother's a folk musician, so I heard all kinds of different world music, music in different languages. So I've always loved, folk, classical. My grandfather played violin, or as a hobbyist. When I went to school, for like elementary school, from like age 6 to about, 12 or so, every day the whole school would sing. So again, I was used to classical songs, music, hymns, things like that. So that's always been a big influence, to have this kind of classical root in what I do. And then I've been in school choirs, singing again classical repertoire and some show tunes, Broadway and things like that. But it was heavily influenced with, I would say, more classical things like requiems and things like that you would sing. So I've always been drawn to classical music. That's really my biggest influence. I love Italian, French opera. I've sung wonderful roles like Mimi and Musetta in La Bohème, Despina. I love comedy. I love Despina in Così fan tutte and Susanna in Le Nozze di Figaro from Mozart. So I love the absurdities of the comedy too, and the commentary on the class system too. I've always loved that. And so, like I was saying, I had a career singing in different operas, and I'm not so much into, I would say, pop music as much, because that's just not where my career was going. But then as I got into teaching more, I started to, learn and help students learn more modern music. But I tell you, discovering that post looking for a singer where they had listed these bands that I had never heard of, I was instantly, I would say the number one, like Charlie had mentioned, is Nightwish. As soon as I heard them, I just started listening to all their music, and I just loved it. I love all 3 singers that they've had. I just think all their albums are just beautiful, and I love the combination of classical and pop and rock, and it's like when I'm singing with Charlie, Kurt, and Alex, it's the same feeling as if when I was singing with an orchestra. It's just my voice is rising and flying over this beautiful sound. That's just energy going out. It's seriously, it's the equivalent, I think, of being able to fly. Your voice, it's like an out-of-body experience. It's the synergy of every musician in that exact time, exact moment, sending out these vibrations of beautiful sounds, harmonies, and it's just beautiful. So that's where I would say my main influence. I've always been classical, but then again, hearing just by chance these European bands, now my focus is really drawn to this genre of beautiful symphonic metal, symphonic rock.
Cool. Charlie, the album itself, how did that come about? Because it's almost like a concept album. Am I correct on that? Yeah, just tell us about the album in general.
Yeah, in a way, it's a sort of concept album, not officially, but in a way, all the songs are linked by a common denominator, which is the dream, which is dreaming. And of course, all these songs are part of a bunch of demos that I started recording once I had in mind that I wanted to make this band. Okay, and the first 3 songs that I wrote for this band were "What If," then "Forgotten Realms of Wonders," and there is another one. What If, Forgotten Realms of Wonders, and The Wolf and the Mermaid, which is not on this album, but it was on the first EP. And when I wrote these songs, I was like flabbergasted. I was like, wow, where did they come from? I was really inspired. And then I started to work more in depth, and I had the direction that I wanted to follow, and then I went on to write the rest of the songs. But yeah, like I was saying, it's almost a concept about dreaming. It's about basically the meaning of life, the meaning of what is our mission once we are born. And I feel that our meaning is the pursuit of happiness. And so that's a dream. That's probably the highest dream that we might fulfill, which is to be happy. Okay. And in this song, in this album, with these songs, I describe the journey of coming into life. In fact, this is why the initiation of a timeless voyager. That's why it's the first song of the album, of someone coming into this planet as a timeless voyager. Because, it's life on this planet is kind of limited. If we think of, the average age, of, let's say, 80 years old or something. But our life, it's a journey full of lessons. We are learning, we are traveling, and we have so many adventures, and it's up really to us to define who do we want to become, where do we want to go to. And I feel that all these philosophical concepts that I had in mind had to be part of every song. And so each song on this album has a piece of story that it's related to dreaming, if that makes any sense.
It's a wonderful album. It really is. I've been listening to it a lot now. So excuse me. Right. Cool. I think we got it this time. I'm not going to do the pop quiz today, unless you want to do it.
As you wish.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it. Okay. Then let me see if I can get myself into different mode. Spotlight on everyone. Now, where do you set the view mode? To speaker. No, we don't want speaker. How do we do this with? Okay, let's try it this way. I'm going to mute myself because then it won't bounce around. Can you read this?
My favorite test.
My favorite test. Susie.
This is hard. Actually, I just made burritos tonight and they were really good. So I do love Mexican food, burritos. And enchiladas.
I would say French food. So my favorite is beef bourguignon. Bœuf bourguignon.
Prague in Czech Republic, and a city south of it called Písek, where my family lives.
Paris.
Nightwish.
Nightwish. Yeah, Nightwish.
Green is my favorite color.
Red.
Another hard one. I love anything Jane Austen, I'll say, but it is The Godfather's big anniversary of that movie, and I do love that movie too.
Mine is Blade Runner, the first.
Ooh. Oh, that's hard. For classical, it would have to be Puccini. Anything Puccini. But of course, I love Nightwish, as you all know. I've been saying it over and over again. It's been a big influence. I love Last Ride of the Day. I think that's just the best song.
I will go with Queen, and I probably Who Wants to Live Forever.
Easy, because it's my two dogs, Penny and Pepper. They're keep whining at the door because they want to come in.
I'd say Elephant.
I'd say Kate Winslet. She's a wonderful actress.
My favorite actor is a French actor called Danny Boone.
Tea. I drink lots of tea. I always have a cup near me.
I like sparkling water, and it's French, and it's called Perrier.
Your station, of course.
Your station.
Thank you so much for having us on.
We can't hear you.
It's been more than a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time out twice now. I think we've got it all ready to go. I'm going to